Now, the question I want to ask is, it would be pretty badass if you went to the supermarket and made the point you were making, but also criticize Putin, right? Criticize that there is a lack of freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And
in the supermarket?
yes.
Oh, you mean if I also said that? Well, yeah, I mean,
This is Tucker Carlson on with Lex Friedman, and he's about to annihilate Jon Stewart. Basically, exactly what I said. Anybody who had an honest take on when Tucker went into the supermarket knows what he was doing, and he'll explain it here.
Of course I think that. I'm not. So I guess part of it is that I'm a little, because I have such a low opinion of the commentariat in the United States and the news organizations, which really do just work for the U.S. government. I mean, I really see them as I did Izvestia and Pravda in the 80s. Like, they're just organs of the government, and I think they're contemptible. And I think the people who work there are contemptible. And I say that as someone who knows them really well personally. I think they're disgusting. That I'm a little bit cut off kind of from what people are saying about me because I'm not interested. But so I try not to be defensive. Like, see, I'm not a tool of Putin. But the idea that I'd be flacking for Putin when, you know, my relatives fought in the Revolutionary War, like I'm as American as you could be, it's like crazy to me. Ann Applebaum calls me a traitor to my, okay, right. It's just like so dumb. But no, of course they don't have, no country has freedom of speech other than.
That's deflection. He went over there and highlighted something. Why doesn't he highlight Putin's issues? He's going at his government, America, our government, and questioning the war going on over there and the sanctions we put on them. That's what he was going to over there for. He didn't need to go over there to criticize Putin over free speech. That wasn't necessary. So he's showing you what the government's selling us and the bill that's up in Congress. It makes no sense. It's not doing anything. That's what the goal was, not to talk about Putin. What's the point of that? We already know that. He doesn't need to go over there. He went there to talk to him, not to highlight that.
Us. Canada doesn't have it. Great Britain definitely doesn't have it. France, Netherlands, these are countries I spend a lot of time in. And Russia certainly doesn't have it. So that's why I don't live there. I'm just saying our sanctions don't work. That's all I was saying. And we don't have to live like animals. We can live with dignity. Even the Russians can do it. That's kind of what I was saying. Even the Russians under Vladimir freaking Putin can live like this. And no, it's not a feature of dictatorship. That's the most, I think, discouraging and most dishonest line by people like Jon Stewart, who really are trying to prepare the population for accepting a lot less. He is really a tool of the regime in a sinister way, always has been. Like, how dare you expect that? What are you, a Stalinist? It's like, no, I'm an American. I'm like a decent person. I just want to be able to walk to the grocery store without being murdered. Is that too much? Shut up, then you don't believe in freedom. It's really dark if you think about it, you know?
So
that was a nice way of Tucker Carlson calling Jon Stewart a bish. That's what he did right here. Let's bring that back. It was good. I like Tucker. Tucker's like, I'm a nice guy. I just want to be able to go in the subway without having to yoke nickel out and then catch a charge because I had to yoke him out to be safe on the subway train. That's all I want.
Decent person. I just want to be able to walk to the grocery store without being murdered. Is that too much? Shut up, then you don't believe in freedom. It's really dark if you think about it.
It's the price of freedom. Shut up. It's the price of freedom. We have to have dirty subways. That's the Jon Stewart take. And that's the take you asshats are in my comment talking about. Tucker Carlson's like, okay, the subway system's nice there. I don't know. Can we figure that out here? No, that's the price of freedom. You're an asshat.
About it, you know?
So there is a fundamental way which you wanted Americans to expect more.
You don't have to live like this. We don't have to live like this. You don't have to accept it. You don't. And everyone's afraid in this country they're going to be shut down by the tech oligarchs or have the FBI show up at their houses or go to jail. And people are legit afraid of that in the United States. And my feeling is, so, like, show a little courage. Like, what is it worth to you for your grandchildren to live in a free, prosperous country? It should be worth more than your comfort. That's how I feel.
We should make clear that, you know, by many measures, you look at the World Press Freedom Index, you're right, U.S. is not at the top. Norway is. U.S. scores 71, same as Gambia,
Really?
in West Africa.
So let me just ask.
Hold on a second.
Now you're making me laugh.
Ukraine is 61 and Russia is 35. The lower it is, the worse. Close to China at 23 and North Korea
I
at the
think
very bottom, 22.
Didn't Ukraine put Gonzalo Lira in jail till he died for criticizing the government? How can they have a high press?
Yes, that's why they're 61.
But I'm saying,
out of
look,
0
I
to
don't know
100.
what the criteria are they're using to arrive at that. But I know press freedom when I see it. I try to practice it, which is saying what you think is true, correcting yourself when you've been shown to be wrong.
That's not Jon Stewart. I'm going to go back. I want to hear him annihilate Jon Stewart one more time after I finish this.
As I have many times. Being as honest as you can be all the time and not being afraid. And those are wholly absent in my country, wholly absent. People are afraid in the news business. I would know, since I spent my life working there, and they're afraid to tell the truth. They're under an enormous amount of pressure, and a lot of them have little kids and mortgages. I've been there. So I have sympathy, but they go along with things like you are not allowed, if you stand up at any cable channel in the United States and say, wait a second, how did the Ukrainian government throw a U.S. citizen into prison until he died for criticizing the Ukrainian government? And we're paying for that.
Does Jon Stewart say anything about that? He said stuff about Navalny. I haven't heard him say anything about Lira. Maybe he has. Somebody let me know. He definitely hasn't said anything about J6ers. So how are you bringing up Navalny, but you don't bring up the persecution here that's going on right now in front of our eyes? They're still hunting down J6ers like dogs right now. Non-violent ones.
That's why it's offensive to me. We're paying for it. And that happens all the time around the world, of course. But this is a U.S. citizen, and we're paying the pensions of Ukrainian bureaucrats. Like we are the Ukrainian government at this point. And like, if you said that on TV, on any channel, well, you'd lose your job for that. So like, that's not, I don't care. Norway is at the top, really, Norway. If I went on Norwegian television and said NATO blew up Nord Stream, which it did. NATO blew up Nord Stream. The United States government, with the help of other governments, committed the largest act of industrial terrorism in history.
Has Jon Stewart talked about that either? Like, what does he really talk about that you like?
And by the way, the largest environmental crime, the largest emission of CO2, methane. Could I keep my job? No. So how is that a free
Well, we
press?
don't know that. I mean, the whole point of
In Norway?
Yes.
Well, as a Scandinavian, I can tell you they would not put up with that in Norway for a second.
It's been a while.
Deviating for the majority? No.
Let's go back to the Stewart part. That's my part.
Tech oligarchs or have the FBI show up at their houses or go to jail. And people are legit afraid of that in the United States. And my feeling is, so? Like, show a little courage. Like, what is it? Oh, no. I'm an American. I'm like, are trying to prepare. And Russia certainly doesn't have it. So
Let's
that's
get
why
him
I
one
don't
last
live
time.
there.
Let's get him, Tucker.
I'm just saying our sanctions don't work.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying. And we don't have to live like animals. We can live with dignity. Even the Russians can do it. That's kind of what I was saying. Even the Russians under Vladimir freaking Putin can live like this. And no, it's not a feature of dictatorship. That's the most, I think, discouraging and most dishonest line by people like Jon Stewart, who really are trying to prepare the population for accepting a lot less. He is really a tool of the regime in a sinister way, always has been.
Disgusting.
Like, how dare you expect that? What are you, a Stalinist? It's like, no, I'm an American. I'm like a decent person. I just want to be able to walk to the grocery store without being murdered. Is that too much? Shut up, then you don't believe in freedom. It's really dark if you think about it, you know?
So there is a fundamental way which you wanted Americans to expect more.
You don't have to live like
You don't have to live like this, and you don't have to listen to garbage like Jon Stewart. I'm not done with that dude either.